Coco Gauff's heartbreaking journey. How she rebounded to become stronger than ever. The stadium lights were blinding, but Coco Gauff barely noticed them. What she remembered most from that night was the silence, the kind of silence that wraps itself around your heart and squeezes a little too tightly. One moment, the world expected her to rise. The next, the weight of millions of hopes crashed down on her shoulders. She had lost a match that the world thought she would win, a match she thought she needed to win. And yet, it was in that exact silence, after the applause faded, after the cameras turned away, that Coco Gauff began the journey that would one day turn heartbreak into rebirth, the fall that everyone saw and the pain no one saw. Coco had been touted as the future of American tennis since the world first saw that fearless 15-year-old defeat Venus Williams. Expectations became constant companions, sometimes inspiring, sometimes suffocating. Her talent was undeniable, but so was the pressure. The match that shattered her came during a period when every headline demanded greatness. Cameras followed her every move, critics analyzed her every swing, and fans begged for another chapter of her meteoric rise. But in that moment, everything felt wrong. Her rhythm was off, her timing felt slow, and a creeping fear, one she usually kept buried, began whispering doubts she didn't want to hear. When the final ball sailed long, Coco froze. Not because she lost, but because she felt like she had let everyone down. Behind the scenes, away from the microphones, she cried, not out of weakness, but out of exhaustion, out of frustration that her best wasn't enough that day, out of fear that her journey was slipping from her hands. When the cameras turn off, reality begins. The hardest part wasn't losing. It was waking up the next morning, scrolling through social media, and seeing the brutal messages. Overrated. Done already? Not strong enough. Her heart tightened with every word. But in that painful moment, Coco did something extraordinary. She didn't turn away. She didn't hide. She faced the hurt head on. She sat down with her family, the people who had always seen Corey, not the global phenomenon Coco. Her mom hugged her tight, whispering, "A fall doesn't end the story." Her dad placed a gentle hand on her shoulder and simply said, "Now we rebuild." Coco took a deep breath. She nodded, and she chose to fight again, relearning herself. What followed wasn't a comeback. It was reinvention. Coco returned to practice court not as a superstar chasing perfection, but as a young woman rebuilding piece by piece. She worked on her serve, corrected small technical habits, pushed her legs through brutal conditioning drills, and sharpened her mental game. But more importantly, she worked on her spirit. She met with sports psychologists, learned breathing techniques, and began writing journals. Pages filled with promises to herself, reminders of who she was beyond tennis, and declarations of strength even on days she didn't feel strong. She wrote sentence after sentence that became her personal mantra. I am allowed to fall. I am built to rise. The quiet strength that grew in the shadows. Months passed. The world moved on, but Coco stayed locked in, determined, fierce, and focused. Her practice sessions got longer, her body got stronger, and her heart, slowly but surely, became whole again. One night, after a particularly grueling practice, Coco stayed alone on the court. With everyone gone, she sat in the middle of the baseline, staring at the empty seats where thousands would one day roar for her again. She whispered to herself, I will be back. I will be stronger. And when I rise, I will rise for me. The thought brought tears to her eyes, not tears of sadness, but a renewal. The turning point no one expected. Her return to the tour wasn't a fairy tale. She didn't win immediately. She didn't dominate. She faced bruising battles, harsh critics, and tough opponents. But something had changed. She no longer played for fear of losing. She played because she loved the game again. Then, in one electrifying moment, everything clicked. It happened during a match where she fought from 2 breaks down. Sweat dripped down her face. Her legs trembled and her lungs burned, but Coco smiled. She felt alive. She felt fearless again. She turned the match around in a flurry of grit and brilliance. Her backhand cracked like thunder. Her movement was sharp as lightning, and the crowd finally saw the Coco they missed, the one who belonged on the biggest stage. When she won that match, She didn't scream. She didn't collapse. She simply closed her eyes, pressed her hands together, and whispered, "Thank you." That victory wasn't a trophy. It was a rebirth. The world takes notice. Soon the wins grew bigger. Titles followed. The champions who inspire. The pain that transforms. Coco Gauff became more than a tennis player. She became a symbol of resilience. Interviews revealed her newfound wisdom. She spoke openly about struggle, burnout, expectations, and the freedom she found in embracing imperfection. Her honesty made her relatable. Her strength made her a role model. Off the court, Coco began mentoring younger players, encouraging them to prioritize mental health. She supported social causes, participated in youth programs, and used her voice to inspire. Her heartbreak had not broken her. It had expanded her. The match that completed the transformation. Every journey needs a defining moment. And Coco's came when she reached another major final. The kind of stage where legends are made. This time, she stepped on a court not as a teenager overwhelmed by expectations, but as a warrior forged by adversity. The match was a battle. Long rallies, brutal pace, fierce momentum shifts. Coco chased down impossible balls and unleashed forehands that echoed with confidence. The stadium roared with every point, feeling the energy, the fire, the redemption. When she won match point with a blistering down-the-line winner, the world erupted. Coco froze, not out of disbelief, but out of deep, overwhelming gratitude. Tears streamed down her face, but this time they weren't from heartbreak. They were from the realization that every painful step had carried her to this moment. She knelt on the court, looked up at the lights, and whispered, "I made it." Stronger than ever, a new era begins. In the press conference afterward, a reporter asked, "How did you become so strong after everything you went through?" Coco smiled, a smile filled with courage, clarity, and calm. "I stopped trying to be perfect," she replied, "and I started trying to be me. Once I accepted that pain is part of the journey, it stopped holding me back. I learned that resilience doesn't mean you don't fall. It means you rise, even when rising feels impossible." Her word became a mantra for millions. The legacy of her heartbreaking journey. Coco Gauff's story is no longer just about tennis. It's about the human spirit's capacity to transform pain into power, doubt into belief, and heartbreak into hope. Her journey reminds us that falling down does not define us. How we rise does. Pressure can break you or build you, and sometimes the strongest version of you is born in your weakest moments. Coco's journey is a living testament to courage. She didn't abound because she had to. She rebounded because she chose to, and that choice made her stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable than ever. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Till next time.